I understand.
I knew you would.
So, moving into have not seens. We're gonna start off with we're gonna save the corporate schlock one for last, I think.
Corporate slop.
Um, Schlock, slop, same thing. Um, we're gonna start with Space Chimps, which arguably is also corporate slop.
Commander's log. Space, the final frontier.
Permission to speak, Commander?
Permission granted.
You're a dork.
When the mission is too dangerous.
You are going into space.
Whoa!
He seems very excited to go.
Good glass.
When the odds seem impossible.
They have been training for this their whole lives.
Only one team is ready to swing into action.
That's gotta hurt.
Meet Ham, Luna, and Titan.
I am Titan. I am strong.
No one wants to sing along.
But it's less on the nose if it is.
Space Chimps.
So this came out in 2008.
Do the chimps go to space?
Yes.
All right. It's not like a misdirect where they never actually make it to space.
No, they go to another planet.
I understand. Understood.
So this one, rest of the voice, there's two voice actors in this that really made this more enjoyable for me. The rest of them are, I don't recognize their names well enough to think they're worth calling out. But you had Andy Samberg and Patrick Warburton were in this one.
Really?
And yep.
That's a funny coincidence.
Alrighty then. Andy Samberg is the main one, and Patrick Warburton is the strong but dumb one.
Of course
Captain.
He is. Of course he is.
So I think it was this one that we're going to reveal some lore about Jordan here. Is when I did college, I went to 3D modeling and animation college, and one of my teachers, I'm pretty sure it was this one, might have been another one, but there was one really bad animated movie which he would continuously harp on how bad the animation for it was, and my memory anyway tells me it was this one. It might have been Diego, but I'm pretty sure it was this one.
You mean Delgo?
Whatever it was, you know the one.
I know the one.
The one that is literally on one of my animation textbooks.
That one was bad. Real bad.
But flashback to when I talked about that one. But this one was fine. So, short version. Main character is Andy Samberg. His character's name, and I'm only going to say it because I need to distinguish him from his grandfather.
Mr. Chips.
No, it's Ham the Third. And Ham the Third is Ham the First's grandson. Ham the First was a very famous space astronaut chimp who, I think he was supposed to be like the chimp that went up.
Chimp, if you will.
If you will. I believe he's supposed to be the one that went up before Armstrong in the story. But like he's a famous space chimp. And then Ham the Third is a circus chimpanzee who likes doing cannon acts and crashing. So then
he does not want to be a famous space chimp.
No, he does not. And so then the astronaut people sent this unmanned probe out, and it ended up going through this wormhole and ended up on a different planet where there are now on the other side of the galaxy, where there are now aliens, and one of the aliens learns how to manually take control of the space probe and uses it to dominate his alien society and take over. And so then the humans who are about to lose their funding are like, okay, well, we need to send the space chimps up to see if like life can survive going through the wormhole, and then we can get more budget, which is questionable morality if you're asking me. Hashtag save the animals. But they do send them, and they go through, and then there's the aliens and the space chimps get lost, and there's some whammy whammy schlammy vlammy. And
Flimble
then
flumble, deeble dorble.
they end up making friends with various aliens and saving the alien society from the one who took over, and they missed their flight on their plane, which they find out was automatically programmed, and they weren't really astronauts at all. They didn't do anything. They just sat there because
Big twist.
the entire time Andy Samberg's character is like, we're just here like guinea pigs to see if our heads explode. We're not real astronauts. And the other two are like, we are real astronauts. Fuck you. And then later on in the movie they find out they're not real astronauts.
Big twist.
And then and it ultimately leads to a joke which made me laugh. So then also a character that Ham the Third knows because he knew his grandpa Ham the First is this old ape who is named Houston, which I thought was funny. So they missed their flight back because it leaves on their own.
Is precious.
It leaves on its own, and they're not on the ship because they're like, we have to help the alien people. You know, they were so kind to us and stuff. And so they go off to do that, and then they're like, well, I guess we're stuck here now. And then they call Houston on the banana phone and are like, Houston, can you help us make this unmanned probe into a flyable spaceship? Because that's how that works, I guess. And then they do. And they fly back, and they make it back, and then they land, and then the humans who had given up, and because the spaceship returned without the apes, who had given up, and the senator was going to cut all their funding and be like, nay, the apes come back, and then they're all like, this was an unmanned spaceship. It can't have flown back here with them in it. And some of them were like, well, we may never know who built this, but we know that they're real astronauts because they flew and it wasn't programmed. And they had to do all the flying themselves. And then like one of the humans is like, I think we might have to retest the intelligence of our apes because they're so smart.
Oh no, they might be Planet of the Apes.
And that made me laugh.
We have to make several more sequels.
I had at least one, which was straight to DVD.
Straight to DVD.
Space Chimps 2, Zartog Strikes Back. And that's Space Chimps. It was fine. Like, it's one of those, like, is it good? No. Is it bad?
No.
Kind of. A little bit. It's schlock.
Yeah.
It's schlock. Like, it's one you could put your kids in front of and they'd probably get enjoyment from. Are the parents who are forced to watch it with them going to enjoy it? If you have enough
anything's good,
help,
man.
Anything can be entertaining.
Yeah.
That's Space Chimps.
So it's funny that you got yours has Patrick Warburton in it. I was going to do this in the other order, but I think I'm going to do this way. Jordan, have you ever heard of a movie called... Wait.
Drum roll.
Let's make sure I get the name right. Hoodwinked!
Granny, it's me, Red.
Sure thing, come on in.
If you think you know the story...
What big hands you have, and what big ears you have.
Old people just have big ears, dear.
If you think you know the legend...
And Granny, what big eyes you have.
Are we just gonna sit around here and talk about how big I'm getting?
Think again.
Granny!
What do we got?
It's a domestic disturbance. Breaking and entering, wielding an axe without a license, intent to eat.
Nicky Flippers.
I recognize the name, but I don't think I've ever watched it. Is that the one where it's the poster has Little Red Riding Hood?
Yeah. Little Red Riding Hood, the Big Bad Wolf, Granny, and the Hunter.
I don't know about the rest of all of them. I just remember that it had Red Riding Hood.
Yes, it is wondrously cheap looking. One of the worst animated movies I've ever seen. It looks cheap. All the characters look bad. Little Red Riding Hood is horrifying looking. But honestly, it's kind of good. It was made by like an independent animation studio, and they didn't have a ton of money, so it didn't have the budget. But it is honestly really clever. Like it's written really cleverly. It's really funny. There's some genuinely funny jokes. It's got okay. So here's the plot of it. So we open, Jordan, and it is the ending of the story of the Little Red Riding Hood. The Little Red Riding Hood has come in, and the Big Bad Wolf is disguised as the grandma, and they go through the whole rigmarole. You know, what big teeth you have, yada yada yada. And then out of nowhere, Granny busts out of the closet, and a random man, a huntsman with an axe, bursts through the windshield, and everything is off the rails. It now cuts, and it's the cops are there, and they are questioning everyone as to what happens. And a detective, and I learned this today, a detective played by David Ogden Stiers, who plays Cogsworth in Beauty and the Beast. I was like, I recognize this voice. Why do I recognize this voice? And I Googled it, and it was like, it's David Ogden Stiers, and I know he's Jumba, but I was like, but he's not Jumba's voice. I recognize it as another voice, and I looked through his filmography. Yeah, he's Cogsworth. So Jumba and Cogsworth are played by the same voice actor.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I would have never guessed that.
I know, right? I was like, I would have never guessed that.
That you could have a very British person being a very not British sounding.
Right. I was like, oh, that's pretty. They sound completely different characters. That's an impressive performance.
Or not British, but I guess English, very English. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
And so yeah, he's for Detective Hops or something. He's a frog. I think he's a frog. Yeah, he comes in, and this is the framing device for the movie. Interviews each of them. So the Little Red Riding Hood, the Big Bad Wolf, the Huntsman, and Granny. And you find out what happened, basically, that led up to that moment at the beginning of the movie. So the movie starts off with you find out that there has been a recipe thief who's been stealing people's recipes in the town. And so Little Red Riding Hood is taking Granny's recipe book to Granny's cabin for safekeeping. And the movie is initially about her journey to Granny's cabin, how she wound up confronting the Big Bad Wolf at the Granny's cabin. And so initially you see that she runs into the Big Bad Wolf, who says a bunch of really suspicious shit, and she gets prevented from going a certain way. So then she runs into a goat who claims to be cursed by a witch, so he can only ever sing, because this is also a musical.
Of course it
and
is.
The music is honestly not bad. And he takes her through the mines in a mine cart, and they get to the back end of the mine cart, and part of the track is just missing, and they crash, and she's falling, and out of nowhere she sees what appears to be the spirit of her grandma telling her to use her hood as a parachute. And then it gets to her at the cabin, and they're like, well, yeah, what happened? So then next they interview the Big Bad Wolf, and you find out that the Big Bad Wolf is actually a investigative reporter, and he suspects that Little Red Riding Hood is the recipe thief, and that her and the grandma are smuggling the recipe and these baked goods. And so he's been trailing her and going undercover, and his whole bit is he goes undercover in really obvious looking costumes where you can clearly tell who it is. And so he's been trailing her so he can write this story, and that's where he meets her in the woods, and you find out from his perspective that he's just awkward, and he asks these questions awkwardly, and he gets caught, and he tries to chase after her, and it looks like he's being antagonistic. And he follows after her, and he winds up in his own mining cart, and he's got a little squirrel sidekick who talks really fast and is hard to understand. And they're in the mine, and it's really dark. He's like, ooh, there's a candle. And he lights the candle, and they see it's dynamite. It's like, oh, you got it, no candle. We gotta get rid of the candles. And he throws the candles out of the mine cart, and it blows up the track that she was on. So when she was like falling, it was because he blew up the track. And there's a point where he's following her, and earlier in the movie she has this big musical number where she sings this big musical number, and from his perspective, like during the musical number she like magically flies off. So in the musical number, when it cuts to his perspective, you see him watching her do this musical number, and she just randomly flies off out of nowhere, and he's like, ooh, that's creepy. And the wolf is voiced by Patrick Warburton, and Little Red Riding Hood is voiced by Anne Hathaway. And so then it gets to they're interviewing the huntsman, and it turns out that the huntsman is not actually a huntsman, but he's an actor who he's trying to audition for I don't know if it's a movie or a commercial, something to do with being a huntsman. So he's been dressed as a huntsman trying to get into character, and he initially gets rejected, and the producer of the thing phones him and is like, yeah, we're kind of thinking about maybe going in your direction. We're calling you back. This is a callback. And he's like, oh, I never gotten a callback before. I'm so excited. And he's like, what I need you to do is I need you to live, breathe, and die a woodsman. You are a woodsman. I need you to not just act like a woodsman. I need you to become a woodsman. And so he goes around, he goes crazy, and starts like cutting down trees and acting like a woodsman. And he gets stuck in a tree. I think it's an axe or his shoes or something, gets stuck in a tree. And he rolls down the hill, and it sends him flying, and he goes crashing into Granny's house with the axe. No. I forgot to mention that. So the big bad wolf, he's trailing Little Red Riding Hood, and he winds up at Granny's house. So he discovers that Little Red Riding Hood is the granddaughter of Granny, who's like this famous person in town. And he shows up there, and she's already tied up in the closet, and he's like, conveniently she was really famous and had her merchandise lying around, so he dresses up as her, and the cops are like, wait, so you're saying that you showed up and she just happened to be like locked up or tied up in the closet? And he's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they're like, all right. And then the detective's like, there's only one thing left to do. We need to talk to Granny. So they interview Granny, and it turns out that Granny is like into extreme sports. So she couldn't see Little Red Riding Hood earlier in the movie because she was going off to do a extreme snowboarding competition with an obviously evil set of competitors. And earlier in the movie, when you saw Little Red Riding Hood talk to like what looked like the ghost of Granny, it actually was Granny because she was running away from some bad guys, and she was parachuting down, and she just happened to see her parachuting. And so it turns out that the whole thing was just a misunderstanding.
Well, okay then.
And so then there's the whole mystery left, though, Jordan. There's one mystery left of who's the recipe thief. And so the whole movie, Little Red Riding Hood has a little squirrel. What was he?
Chipmunk?
Rabbit. He's a rabbit played by Andy Dick. And the only role I've ever liked Andy Dick in. He is quite good in this. He is quite funny. He has quite and his character is really quite, compared to the rest of the characters, expressively animated. But he's been around the whole movie, just kind of hanging around, giving people like advice, and like when the wolf is trying to figure out how to get to Granny's house, he like gives him directions. He helps the Granny during the competition. And he's just kind of been around. And earlier in the movie, I was like, wait a minute, fucking rabbit. So it turns out that the rabbit is the recipe thief, and the whole like climax of the movie is them fighting the rabbit. And the rabbit was like, "Would you think I was hanging out with you because I was your friend?" No, I wasn't hanging out with you. I didn't actually like you. And he sings this song. He has a little musical number that's quite funny. And then the movie ends with they all get invited by the detective to join his super secret spy agency where they'll go fight bad guys. And honestly, Jordan, I'm probably going to watch it because I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really, really funny. And I thought it was really, really clever. And there was a lot of really, really funny jokes that made me laugh. There's one in particular that I'm completely blanking on.
So not all bad movies are bad.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, you're right. Where you're like, oh, this one was horrendously animated. One of the ugliest movies I've ever seen. But it was funny. It was a funny and it was a clever movie. There were points that legitimately I laughed out loud. Like the way it just kept escalating. And yeah, it was really funny. It was genuinely really funny. And I think it kind of gets a bad rap. So I think it's underrated. It's an underrated movie. That's it. That's Hoodwinked. Hey there, everybody. It's N-Card Justin here. Let me know down in the comments. Have you seen Hoodwinked or Space Chimps? Did you like them? Did you hate them? Do you think they're the worst movies of all time? Or are you like us and are like, you know what? Pretty good, actually. let me know down in the comments. But in the meantime, if you would like to see the full episode, this is from our weird animated movies episode. You click the box on the left, or if you want to see a random video that YouTube thinks you're going to enjoy, click the box on the right. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. We make new videos every single day of the week, including a new podcast on Sunday, or you can just leave us a like. That helps us out too. We'll see you next time, everyone. Have a good day.